In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.
Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bois, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we were just talking about how these things are wacky, out of order, or they're about to be. Like this one that we're doing is Season 6, Episode 5. It's actually labeled 6ABE06, Father of the Bribe, December 16, 2001. But you were saying that going forward, they're way out of
Yeah, there's some that are way out of whack order. So once you get to Season 6, Episode 10 and 11 of Season 6, their production number is 5, ABE 21 and 20. So they were produced for Season 5, which by that point you're, 11 weeks away from Season 5.
Yeah, it's got to be really hard to keep continuity that way, because I would imagine you have to go revisit it because there might be stuff that gets mentioned.
Well, that's why there's a lot of that's why you're able to find so many continuity issues in different areas and things with different stuff in the show.
It just seems like that would be really hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think so too.
But, all right, this is Father of the Bribe.
Yep, Season 6, Episode 5.
December 16, 2001. We have Zero Bell, Zero Yell.
2002.
Is it?
Yeah, this is January 6, 2002. This is actually our first episode in the year 2002. It's now 2002.
But it's December or January?
No, it's January.
January, okay.
Yeah. The last episode that aired was December...
It was like December 6th or something, 7th or something like that.
16th.
Okay.
So it was December 16th, 2001, and that was the Jimmy Carter episode.
This one's January what?
January 6th, 2002.
Okay, 6th, that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, little did they know what January 6th would mean in the future.
Yeah, written by Dean Young and directed by Cindy Tang Loveland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know who she is?
Or
they are?
Not
right
anything
off.
deep
Okay.
off the top of my head.
Okay.
No.
All right, so we start this sucker off at Tom Landry Middle School. We see the sign that says 48 days without a dress code violation. So
That's good. There you
that's
go.
Nice. We see the basic math on the door. It opens up. Bobby comes out. Then we see the honors math door open up. Connie comes out. They meet in the hall and they hold hands. And Bobby starts with, I'm sick of only seeing you in between classes. I am this close to cracking open a book and taking honors English. He's that close to cracking open a book.
I think it's funny that they're in the same grade and there's no class that they have in common.
She's way smarter. Connie says, "Listen."
Well, I'm just talking about more about the small town thing in Texas.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Even the honors kids had
a lot of the same.
They
classes.
had some of the same classes because the only honors classes that they provided at my high school was English and math. Mm-hmm. Once you got to a certain grade, it was just the only two, and it was just because they would have somebody come from MCC. They'd have a math
Dual
professor,
credit kind of thing. Yeah,
and they would do an AP credit course kind of thing.
I did honors art. I taught honors art.
Oh, okay.
But that was
I didn't even know that was a thing. Honors art. So what's that for? That's for the kids who are having aptitude for art.
Yeah.
Who want to actually do art.
They want to do something past that. They want to be part of the state competition and all those kind of things. It was a competition called VASE here in Texas that we would take our artists to. And it's not just art; it's all kinds of things. But it is like basically a certification and a competition for best in the state kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was fun. The nice thing about honors art is you just buy them a bunch of supplies and sit there and make sure nobody dies. That's pretty much mine.
Yeah, that's probably they probably know what they want to do. Just give them a project they know what they want to draw, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I had them support, or I had them make up documents saying what it was about and how they were going to present it and all that stuff. So they had to do all that stuff, and then I just kind of let them go.
Yeah, it was kind of like we didn't have like honors art, but they had art all the way out for seniors. Yeah. So they had like art 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing, and you had to take art 1 to be in art 2, so you couldn't just jump into random, So they had different like progressed stages. So by the time you're in art 4, there's like 5 kids in class, and you get to use all of it. You get to use the kiln. You get to like do things that you didn't get to do in art 1 or art 2 or art 3.
We had a kiln.
Well, see, nice. our art had all that. Like our art department had all that stuff too, but like they didn't want the regular. Like they don't want just the goofy kids in there cutting up.
Sure.
You could draw and paste and do all that, but leave the kiln. Once you get to like art 3, we'll start exploring the kiln kind of thing.
Like I said, first thing I did when I took an art job is I threw away all of the glitter, and then I cordoned off the kiln so not just anybody could get in there and mess with it. Because I don't know if you know this, those things get hot.
And then you'd find all kinds of like stuff in there, like burnt chicken.
They
nuggets.
always want to blow things up. Put a hole in it, that kind of stuff. All right, so Connie comes over and holds his hand. She says, "Let's not waste these 2 minutes talking about what can never be." The teacher, the teacher in the hall is obviously the same guy who does either Clark Peters or somebody.
Oh, they're all.
His voice is about the same,
That guy.
He says, "Hey, you two, the school policy: no violence, no affection." No violence, no affection.
Well, I mean, it's well-rounded. It's well-rounded. It's a fair thing. It's a trade-off.
All right, and both go to the opposite classes whenever the bell rings. Now we're at the Hill House. The paper boy comes by, which is something you don't see anymore.
Nope.
Or the paper person, paper kid, whatever you want to call it. Throws the paper. Hank picks it up. He looks at it. And then he sees a shadow behind him, and he realizes it's Dale on his friggin' roof. He goes, "Damn it, Dale, you stealing shingles again?" He said,
"Probably
no.
so."
He goes, "No, I got a pirate radio set at the swap meet." A pirate radio set. It's like a kit. "So I'll bring this neighborhood to a nonstop talk alternative, a constant barrage of eye-opening conspiracies and ad-libbed innuendo. Too bad there's only 24 hours in a day, or is there? Tune in to 84.372 to find out." How catchy. Hank says, "Put that crap on your own roof." He goes, "Ha! I played you like a set of spoons. I only pretended to put it on your roof so you'd be okay with me putting it on my roof. Sucker!" And then he just like laughs. Now we transition over to Connie's room. She's in there doing homework. Con comes to the door and says, "Left brain workout over. Begin right brain workout now." And she gets up. She doesn't want to do any of this. She gets up. She goes over to the violin, starts playing. Bobby comes climbing in her window, like always, falls in. She looks at him and goes, Bobby, you better go. If my dad catches you here, he'll make me play that song he wrote about you. And Bobby says, fat white lumps about me? Connie, you need to relax. I brought my Game Boy.
Her dad's awful.
Fat white lump.
That's good.
He shows her his Game Boy, and they both just kind of groan. She goes, I have to practice. There's a new kid from Archer City who's gunning for first chair, and they say he really knows how to bring it. So she stops playing, and then from the other room, you hear Con, I do not hear beautiful music. You think Yo-Yo Ma's father had to yell at him? Then she turns on the radio that has classical music playing, and it sounds kind of like she's playing the violin.
Yeah.
Con is putting in the living room. He's practicing his putt. Min is sitting there. But then you hear it go into a full orchestra, and she doesn't catch it in time to turn it off. He shouts. He comes in there. He sees Bobby going out the window, and he goes, Fat white lump!
Fat white lump.
Fat white lump.
Yep.
All right, now we're in Dale's basement, or the pirate radio station, as it were. And he says, a nefarious government plot to store our nation's silver supply in our mouths. Children, I implore you, rip out your fillings. I mean, God, what advice.
That's tough.
That's his 24-hour Gribble Talk, serving the entire Tri-House area. Tri-House. Hank and Peggy are kind of listening to it. Peggy says, Dale is a terrible radio personality. And Hank has a point. He goes, hey, we're listening to him. He must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess so.
Oh, this is awful, but you're sitting there listening to
houses.
it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that I watched the presidential debate the other
God.
night,
Ooh.
and I've seen a few. I mean, I'm not an old grizzled vet or nothing. I haven't been around too long, but I've seen enough of them, and man, what a show that one was.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen as far as a presidential debate goes. That goes way back to like Nixon and those guys. You know, there's the one with Nixon and JFK where he's just sweating bullets the entire time. And that kills his whole campaign.
That was the first one, wasn't it? Wasn't it the first debate on TV?
I don't know if it was the first one on TV, but it was way back there. It was right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that thing the other night, man, I've never seen a debate where both sides are equally terrible.
Like you don't know who to.
You know, I don't want any
is there
of
a
these
button?
guys.
Can we hit reset?
I don't either one. I don't want either one.
It was crazy. It was pretty funny.
You hardly ever see a debate where the party that represents the guy who did bad immediately afterward goes, ooh, maybe we ought to replace him.
They had to do a ton of damage control.
Holy crap.
Yeah, they had to do a shit ton of damage control. They had everybody. I think even Obama released a tweet or something saying,
he said, I'm sticking with him.
Well, he said, I'm sticking with him, but he said, I've had bad everybody has bad debates.
Not like that.
And then the one that killed me was the comparison between the two debates. So they had a debate from when Biden ran, I guess, in 2000 and whenever it was. And it was night and day difference how much he's aged in the last 4 years being president.
It's a lot.
It's a tough job.
Yeah. It is a tough job. It takes a lot out of you. I don't know that you have any true power, but it is a tough job.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do it. Oh, yeah, and the highlight of it for me was the I hit the ball a bunch or something, and he's like, he can't even hit the golf ball 50 yards, and then Biden said, well, I've got a 6 handicap.
It was like 20 minutes of golf talk, basically.
That killed me.
And then Biden challenges him, I'll challenge you to golf. You just got to carry your bag. Can you do that? And then it's like, what the hell am I watching?
Two old men fighting about golf. It was great. It was great.
God,
I can't wait to see what SNL cooks up.
All right, Bobby runs in, and Hank goes, if you ran that fast at baseball tryouts. Nah, he still can't hit for beans. Con comes in with the putter in his hand. He goes, where are you hiding Jethro? Under haystack in living room? He goes, whoa. Hey, I wouldn't allow that non-conforming putter on the golf course, and I certainly won't let you beat my son with it. Beat my son with it.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
He starts shouting in Laotian. He leaves. Hank's like, yeah, I know. I'm a broiled ox penis. I love that joke. I think that's fantastic that he goes off shouting in Laotian. And he goes, yeah, I know. I'm a broiled ox penis.
That is pretty good. I wonder if that's actually like a Laotian insult.
I don't know. Now we're back at Con's house. He is on the stepper, getting his steps in.
Yeah,
and Min is on one of those elliptical bikes. And she says, you can't just order her to break up with him, Con. Teenagers are very rebellious. Big reason I started dating you was to rebel against Papa. He says, I thought the general liked me. No, he never think you good enough. For my sister, maybe, not for me. He says, we leave Laos to make better life for Connie, and Bobby Hill ruin everything. I'm going to find a way to pry our truffle out of that pig's snout. He's very he paints a colorful picture with his words.
Yeah, he does.
He often does.
Absolutely.
There's a haystack in their living room. His daughter's a truffle. Bobby's a pig. Next day, Bobby is walking down the street with his backpack. Con pulls up over by him and goes, hey, neighbor, it's the Bobby Mobile Express to school. Boop, boop, come on in. He goes, no, thanks. I'd rather walk, and I don't care much for walking. So you can imagine how I feel about you right now. He says, Bobby, I'm reaching out. Don't leave me hanging, big guy. So then we kind of transition. Bobby apparently got into the car because they're sitting in the Whataburger parking lot, and it is still called What a Burger.
What a Burger, yeah.
It's not Waterburger yet.
Right out of Corpus Christi, Texas.
That's right.
Yeah.
I ate at a P. Terry's yesterday. You ever eat at a P. Terry's?
As frequently as I've driven through town and everything, one of the sales reps, I was really near a P. Terry's.
Yeah.
After,
there's like 9 of them as soon as you drive in Austin.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in Austin. I think they're opening them. They're starting to open them a little further south too, down in San Antonio and stuff.
I would love if they opened one here. That'd be great.
Yeah, I would too.
It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was a really good.
It's just a plain ass burger and fries restaurant.
It is. That's it. They don't have much else on. I don't even think they have. I think they got a chicken option.
They have some chicken,
but not much. Very, very little.
And then they have like options. 3 or 4 breakfast things that they'll serve too.
And it's just usually a 1 patty, 2 patty, 3 patty burger situation.
Well, now you can order a P. Scary, which is off the menu.
Okay.
And it has 4 patties, 4 cheese.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Peppers. The first thing I did when I walked in there, I looked up P. Terry's secret menu. You know, because I figured it was kind of like an In-N-Out thing or whatever. Yeah. But I tell you what, those fries.
I liked it.
Damn good.
Yeah, one of the sales reps had suggested it to me, so I went and ate. And their Dr. Pepper mixture seems like kind of like Coke at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Their Dr. Pepper was phenomenal. It was like a really good drink. Yeah. Real cold. The burger was real fresh. I had to wait a little longer than I'd care to wait, but I think it's because they don't make it until you actually order it, kind of thing. So
I'm just going to say this: most of these restaurants you walk into, they have like 19 options or whatever.
Way too many.
You don't need it. Nah. I need like 4 things. That's it.
I want like no options. I just want you to have one item on your menu for me to order when I get there.
And then this place, what really struck me. Their dessert option, banana bread.
That's it.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's just a banana bread.
It
is really weird.
Their
fries are good
too. It's gigantic.
But I've learned
they hand cut all those.
Over eating there as much, like the few times that I have, I learned real fast. The second time I ate there, I told them fry them twice, like fry them hard.
Really? Yeah.
And they come out way better when because they're not as crispy when you first get them. They're a little.
I just love that they're in that little bag and they twist it up at the end and all that stuff. You know, it's just cool.
Mom and pop feel to it.
I would 100% go back there. So they're sitting in the Whataburger parking lot. Bobby has an entire tray of food he's eating out of. It almost looks like it came as a meal of some kind in a box. Con says, you and I may have many differences, but we do have one thing in common. We both want what's best for my little girl. I just wrote down, Bobby, lots of food.
Yeah, Bobby's a big eater.
He says, that's true. Con says, I'm glad to see we're on the same page. So here's $300 to break up with Connie, which is, oh, man, that's shitty. Bobby says, save that money for our wedding. That's right. Steve Harvey isn't going to fly himself in from L.A. What's amazing to me is that Steve Harvey is still around.
Yeah, and still relevant.
And he's flourishing.
Yeah.
Freaking Family Feud. Who knew?
Well, that's one of the reasons why he hasn't done stand-up comedy in 20 years.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Is because, well, no, not because of that. The reason why this was him. He came out and said this because people have asked him before because he hasn't touched stand-up comedy. Once he broke into TV, he hasn't touched stand-up comedy since. But what a lot of people don't know about Steve Harvey, people that have listened to his stand-up, he wasn't always clean. He wasn't always the cleanest guy.
Was not. Yeah. Well, I think Kings of Comedy, he was in that, right?
Yeah,
And he did a little bit spicy.
And there was some real spicy stuff in that, especially Bernie Mac and stuff like that. But Steve Harvey didn't do anything for 20 years because he can't say what he wants to say when he's doing stand-up. And in his mind, he was like, well, if I can't say what I want to say for fear of losing all this TV money, which the money's better in TV than comedy, he just decided, well, I won't do it. And he goes, when I do it, I am going to say everything I want to say and haven't been able to say.
You get to stay in the same place all the time.
Yeah, he likes being. He likes sitting still at home. Like, he likes being in town at home and stuff like that, not traveling. I mean, comedians. every weekend you're in a different city.
Absolutely.
If you want to make money.
So Con busts in and he goes, Bobby, deep inside those folds, you must know that you and
That's
folds.
crazy. Yeah.
You must know that you and Connie do not belong together. She is destined for Harvard. You're destined for something else, maybe retail. He says, I will not end up behind a counter. I will be a prop comic. Connie will be a concert violinist, and we will find a way to be on the road together. That is the future. I suggest you get used to it, Dad. He gets out. He leaves the food, so you know he's serious, slams the door, and Con says, you think about it, $300 buy a lot of fake vomit for comedy act. All right, so now we're at the Tom Landry Middle School lockers. And Connie knows about the bribe now, and she goes, I can't believe my dad tried to bribe you. Someday I'm going to put him in such a second-tier nursing home. That is – okay, so almost anybody could say that.
That's funny.
But with Connie, she means it. Like, she doesn't joke around like that.
No,
so
she don't.
She's just like, yep, I'm going to put him in one of those crappy nursing homes.
Yeah, he's going to be in some low-rent nursing home. He's going to be in the nursing home off of what was that movie? Which one was it? Happy Gilmore, the grandma, how she was in the nursing home where Ben Stiller was like beating her up. Yeah.
All right, that teacher comes through and goes, hey, lovebirds, no PDAs. Bobby says, this is torture. We can't hold hands in school. We can't hold hands at home. If we don't hold hands soon, I'm going to lose it. A little bit later at Con's, Connie comes in. Min and Con are in there in the front room reading. She comes in crying. She goes, Mom, Dad, Bobby broke up with me. And he says, wow, you have taught me the meaning of total surprise. She says, he said he liked me, but he wasn't in like with me. And then she just runs off sobbing. Min says, I don't know about this. It's one thing to bribe a judge, but Con says, don't you go soft on me. She better cry. It's better she cried now for 10 minutes. It's been 45 years crying that Bobby Hill still not get promotion at Dirt Factory.
Poor Bobby. Poor Bobby.
All right, let's see. Now we're on the outside by like the fence. Bobby and Con both have newspapers rolled up under their arms. They're like not looking at each other because this is real clandestine. They bump into each other. They switch papers, and now Bobby's got the cash. Right, so it's like a Mission Impossible, whatever. It's like a drug drop off or something, and it's $300 in a newspaper.
I really like this episode though a lot. I think a lot of people discount kids that care about each other like this, kind of thing. I think a lot of people discount those relationships when I think they're important for kids to have.
They're formational.
I think they're real
I mean,
important.
they're foundational, not formational.
Yeah, they're foundational. I think they're real important for kids to have because I went to school with guys that didn't start dating until they were like in their mid-20s, and now they're like in their mid-30s, and they have no understanding of women or the world. And I don't really understand. Absolutely true. Not saying I understand women, but I have a better understanding of women than a guy that's just now in his 30s dating women. Like asking me advice on asking me
exactly
why are you asking me advice? Like, I know what I'm doing.
The only thing I can tell you to do is not get married 3 times.
Yeah, or at all. Try to avoid it if all possible.
So later, Bobby's on his bike. Connie rides up and says, or she comes up and says, Bobby. And Bobby says, he bought it, Connie. We're free. She jumps on the bike and goes, gun it. I don't know what – these kids are what, 12?
12, 13,
okay.
Yeah, right there.
So this next thing confuses me. Open road now. Connie is now driving the bike because Bobby was having a real tough time pedaling. They pull into the Jolly Roger Motel, and Bobby has the key to room number 106. And I just wrote how underneath this. He's 12. Yeah. How does that happen?
I don't know.
He goes in and he goes, finally, we can be alone. He goes in, shuts the door. Connie, will you hold my hand? She says, I'd love to. And they lay down on the separate beds, and their hands they're holding each other's hand, which is kind of sweet.
It is kind of sweet, yeah.
And that is our first commercial break. We'll take that, and we'll be right back.
Right back.
Ned Hillsdale, a hard-drinking, foul-mouthed ex-cop turned private detective in the city of Chicago. He lives dangerously, loves intensely, and drinks harder than anyone. The very things that got him kicked off the force now make him the city's best detective. Set against the low rumble of sad jazz and the hum of underground crime, Ned Hillsdale, Private Detective is available anywhere you get your podcasts and at roguemedianetwork.com.
All right, and we are back. They are still in the separate little twin beds holding hands. Bobby says, if your dad knew he paid us $300 to hold hands and look at ourselves in a mirror, he'd go crazy. Now, the mirror's on the ceiling, by the way.
Yeah.
Connie says, good. He doesn't care about me at all. All he cares about are my stupid grades. And then she gets out a book, and she goes, let's see how my dad likes it when I'm too sad because you dumped me to pass my bio midterm. I mean, what a threat.
Well, it is a threat. It is a threat.
For her, it is, yeah. Bobby says, you're going to fail a test on purpose? You have never been more beautiful to me than you are right now. All right, now we transition over to Dale's basement. He's on the radio again. There's an ashtray just full of butts. He's after 60 hours on the air, folks. I have to apologize. The last caller was not the real Spiro Agnew, although he did make some cogent points. It's live talk radio, people. Working without a net here. The guys in the alley are listening to it, Bill and Boomhauer. He goes, all right, our next caller is from nearby McMainerberry. Oh, it must be a windy day. This is quite an honor. Former Soviet Premier Leonid Brezhnev. I think he was dead at this point. I'm pretty darn sure he was
he
dead.
died in 1982.
Yeah, there we go.
He was, Leonid Brezhnev was the general secretary of the Communist Party.
That's right.
And he was the chairman of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet from in the 60s.
But he's
and
calling
stuff.
from nearby McMainerberry.
Yeah, he's calling from nearby in the year 2002.
2002, that's right.
Yeah, he'd be
only
dead
20 years after he was dead.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're at the Hills. It's at the breakfast table. Hank is looking at Bobby's report card. He goes, a C, C+, 2 B minuses. You really did it this time, son. You set realistic goals and you reached them. Way to go. He's just like, this is the best you've ever done, Bobby. Peggy says, well, with grades like that, you could become governor and then president someday. That is a direct dig at Bush. Because remember how they gave him all the shit about having bad grades, and yet he still got to be president because of his dad.
Yeah.
That's a direct, because at that time, direct. We hear Con scream, and then
that's Bush you're talking about, right?
Bush, yeah, huh?
Yeah, because he would just voted in around this time.
Yeah,
yeah, he against all odds became president.
Yeah,
shouldn't have been at all. I don't think. I think that
it.
was. I think that was some of that CIA director stuff there. It's just like you could go all the way back to JFK.
Yeah.
Like, because I was listening to this whole podcast thing where they were talking about, they were tying all kinds of conspiracy theories starting with LBJ killing off JFK.
Yeah.
And they intertwined it all leading up to George H.W. Bush losing to Bill Clinton.
It's hard not to believe some of that stuff, because there's just so much evidence.
Oh,
people discount it immediately.
It's crazy. And then, like, the RFK thing, how Saran was the guy who supposedly shot him, but the shot that killed him on the coroner's report was a shot behind the ear from 1 inch away. When Saran, all of the witnesses say he was never behind RFK to shoot him in the neck.
Yeah.
So, like, they saw a lady in a polka dot dress running away from the scene, and they say that the woman was yelling, "We killed Kennedy." So there's, like, all these, I don't know, there's all these different conspiracies that I wasn't even aware of.
And tragedy plus time equals conspiracy a lot of the time, because there's lots to go. All right, so we hear Con scream, and then we go over to his house, and it says, an F? A minus is unacceptable in this house. Even regular A we're not so crazy about. What's going on? She goes, I'm so upset. I can't concentrate. The frog I had to dissect was looking at me just like Bobby used to. She goes, but don't worry. Pretty soon I'll be getting much better grades. They're taking me out of honors bio and putting me in a life skills class.
Oh, shit.
And Con's like, ah! And then we're back over the hills, and Hank says, there it is again. Like, he hears this scream, and he's just like, okay.
Oh, there it is.
All right, so now we're in class at Tom Landry Middle School. They're now both in the same class. There's a teacher up front, and he is talking about this giant ear. That's the big, giant plastic ear. Now, the proper way to clean your ears is to gently swab around the rim, puncture the eardrum, and you'll hear a pop, followed by a lifetime of silence. A lifetime. She says, is this it? And the guy says, now, people. She says, is he going to say anything about the anatomical structure of the ear? Bobby says, no, just the cleaning. And this is actually a review from yesterday. Then he passes a note, and you hear the teacher say, passing notes, Connie. He looks at the note, and it says, I'm so bored I could kill myself. And he goes, oh, my God. So right here, we probably need to say something about this because
I guess, yeah, we do a little trigger warning.
if you got a note like that passed to you, I understand this teacher going kind of ballistic on it because you overreact to this kind of stuff because you never want to underreact.
And that's the funny thing about this show is this is actually written at a time where there was a lot of underreaction going on about that kind of stuff, especially
100%.
from a school standpoint, from that like mental health thing in schools.
Yeah.
It was still in 2002 was still a lot of the good old boy mentality for a lot of men. You know, there was still that stigma on, you know, talking about your problems and stuff like that, which I feel like has been kind of shattered a little bit now. You know,
a little bit, yeah. It's still
it's
there,
getting
but
better.
a little bit.
It's getting better. My son talks to me about how he feels, and my dad never, you know, I never talked to my dad until I was a grown man about feelings at all. So the fact that the next generation is doing it, hopefully it helps them, because I know that for men our age or older, there are, or even, you know, 25 and up, there's high incidences of, you know, suicide and everything like that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Okay, so now we're at the principal's office, Principal Moss, right?
Principal Moss.
Yeah, they're in the principal's office. Bobby and Connie are sitting outside, and what is the name of the girl that he always tells to come in, and she's like a hall monitor?
Oh, the hall monitor.
Yeah, she's out there just staring a hole through them, you know, like she's going to keep them there.
Emily?
Maybe, yeah.
Is that her name, Emily?
I think so.
Emily? Yeah, that sounds about right.
The principal says, I ain't seen you folks since Connie won the science fair. Well, things have gone downhill since then. We think she's suicidal. And Min's like, no. The teacher says, I caught her passing this note to Bobby.
Yeah, it's Emily. It's Emily for sure. Yeah.
When the principal says, I got to make sure your kids aren't planning some kind of a I jump, you jump, Dungeons and Dragons crap.
I like that. That's good.
So he passes the note over to, oh, by the way, Hank and Peggy are in there too. Hank goes, this isn't a suicide note. Connie's just bored. And the teacher says, I hope this is just a harmless note. It's possible that Connie, for some reason, just wasn't interested in my ear hygiene lecture. But isn't it more likely that she's a deeply troubled little girl and this is her cry for help? Con says, Connie don't need help. She's perfect. That's why we love her. The teacher says, perfect, huh? I noticed Connie's grades have been slipping. That's often a warning sign. And then Min looks at him and goes, Con, you know what this is about. And then they speak Laotian back and forth.
And I read about this. Laotian speak is just gibberish.
It probably is, but then at some point they say Bobby. Then the other one says
that's
Bobby.
That's the only coherent words they say throughout.
Yeah.
And that's what the trivia tidbit says. The only thing that is coherent is Bobby. Everything else is gibberish.
Con says, okay, it's because Bobby dumped Connie. Hank says, what? They broke up. Did you know about this? Looking at Peggy. Peggy says, Hank, I am not on trial here. Why does she immediately go to that?
Yeah.
Con and Min are, and possibly Bobby and Connie, but not me. Can I have some water? Con says, it's all my fault. I never think he good enough for my little girl. Now I realize Bobby Hill, the only thing keeping her alive. The principal says, of all the kids you march in here, Peterson, you finally got one right. That one's a little rough, that you finally got one right, because that means the principal thinks all of it's BS until this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so now outside the door, Bobby says to Connie, we're going to have to get that $300 back. Or Connie says that. Bobby goes, we've only got $280 left. Where are we going to get $20? People start coming out. The Hills come out. He goes, well, thank you, Carl. And then Connie goes up to her parents, Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry. Con says, no. All your mother and I ever want for you is to be happy. Min says, that's why we push you so hard. Con says, and now you're not happy being away from Bobby Hill. Min says, so we push you right back together with him. Connie says, oh, yeah, if I'm back together with Bobby, I won't want to kill myself. And Con says, perfect. Tonight I take everyone out to fancy Italian dinner at That's Amore. Then he says, I always have very strong feelings about Hill family. Now those are of love.
There you go. Good saving face.
Bill and Boomhauer are again in the alley listening to the radio. Dale says, all right, let's see. I told you about the sperm lowering soft drinks. I told you about supercuts cataloging DNA. Oh, I'm running dry here. Wait, is there any concrete evidence that Hawaii actually exists? No, I already covered that. Does anyone remember the Drifters? And he starts playing Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters. We go back over to the Hill house. Hank's putting on a tie. Peggy's getting dressed. Everybody's getting dressed to go out to this fancy dinner at basically Olive Garden. Hank says, all these years, Bobby wasn't good enough for Connie. Now suddenly Con's kissing our asses like the paper boy at Christmas time. Peggy says,
"Yeah, I don't get that expression.
I don't like that. Well, they want a tip at Christmas time, is what he's saying.
Oh, I got you.
Peggy says, I am not even sure Bobby should take her back. As a person who worked with children for many years, I can tell you this: the suicidal ones are trouble.
She is awful, terrible human being.
That is a damn fine joke, though. She goes, the
That is a good
suicidal
joke.
ones are always
the one-
trouble.
Yeah.
Hank says, Connie's not suicidal. She was just upset. It's not like when we were kids, Peggy. Teenagers in love today can get very emotional. And then Bobby comes in and says, all right, so which novelty tie goes better with this suit? Piano or fish? Piano or fish? You hear piano. Now we're at That's Amore.
That's Amore.
This has to be the fanciest restaurant in Arlen.
Probably.
Because there's a piano playing in the background, and all the glasses are clinking.
I heard the Pizza Hut just got renovated. It might be the second most fancy place in town.
Could be. Well, they got those basket lights that hang over the table.
They actually used to be kind of snazzy on the
They
inside.
were.
Yeah,
They were.
yeah, they were.
They
Back in the early 90s.
They had a freaking great buffet, too.
They actually had good
could go
food.
get a good
if you get
buffet.
past the smell of cigarettes.
And then, boy, there was nothing like those little personal pan pizzas. Crispy around the edges.
Oh, yeah, they were good.
Baby.
Yeah. And they would bring them to the table, too. and
Yeah,
everything.
man.
Yeah, hot and ready.
Oh, hot and ready. That's the girl I dated. All right, so they're all there sitting around a table. Con says, they call this place That's Amore. Amore, love. So perfect. It is in the air tonight. Now let us drink to this couple while they kiss and make up. They clink the glasses and they basically force them to kiss each other. Peggy says, I don't know if all parents are biased, but when they watch their kids kiss other kids, but Bobby is really a better kisser.
Oh, shit. Come on. Somebody arrest this woman, please.
When they watch their kids kiss other kids.
She needs to be arrested.
Con snaps his finger and points at the band. They start playing Reunited. And Con says, hey, it's Reunited, Peaches and Herb. Come on, you two. Get out on the dance floor, hand on shoulder, staring eyes, all that jazz. Con starts singing it really badly. Good. Yeah. And then Connie, she's out there talking to Bobby. She's like, it's so creepy the way they keep staring at us. Bobby says, on the plus side, now he thinks you don't want to kill yourself. That you want to kill yourself. He hasn't tried to kill me. Then they just kind of groan. The parents are watching. Peggy takes a picture with her disposable camera. Then you hear from Con, I must say, Bobby is very light on his feet for a boy of his shape, like a young Jackie Gleason. Then we get Min. What Bobby doing tomorrow at 6? I scheduled Connie for a Bobby block every night this week. She gets out her little PDA, right? Like, you remember the little personal assistants that had the pen and they were green and, you moved all the stuff around?
Not to be confused with public displays of affection.
Sure. She says, I put a Bobby block in every 6 o'clock every night. And Peggy, not one to be outdone, pulls a calculator out of her purse and starts poking on it with a pencil and goes, let's see. Yeah, tomorrow at 6 it is. It's like she just doesn't want to come across as somebody who doesn't know how to use technology. All right, the kids are getting in the van with Con. This seems to be another night. Also, Hank is there. So it's Hank, Con, Bobby, Connie. Con says, Monday was roller rink. Tonight we see Bathtub of Blood 2, starring Julia Roberts' brother. So they get in the van, and you hear the radio. It's already on in the van, and it's Dale. Dateline Harlan, what young couple, her hot parents and his parents were seeing canoodling over noodles at Chow Mein. That's Maine, 6325 North Main Street. All right, so now we're at the drive-in. So they went to see Bathtub of Blood 2, starring Julia Roberts' brother at the drive-in.
Yeah.
Hank and Con are in the back seat. The other two are in the front seat. Con says to Hank, hey, Hank, how about you and I mosey over to refreshment stand for a long time, leave the lovebirds all alone, kissy, kissy. They get out. They leave Bobby and Connie in the front seat. Connie leans into Bobby. He thinks she's going to kiss him, and she says, I thought they'd never leave, and she gets out a book.
Yep.
He goes, what are you doing? First time all week we've been alone, and you're doing homework? She goes, I'm not going to get into Harvard watching slasher films. Bobby says, you always hated when your dad made you study, and now you're doing it behind his back? Connie says, Bobby, I don't overachieve because my dad makes me. I do it because, well, there are some very complicated psychological reasons that I don't quite understand because you keep talking. Bobby says, is it me or is it getting a little nerdy in here? Now we see over at the snack stand, Con and Hank walking through. Con says, thanks for paying for the milk duds. Hank says, well, just getting you back for the steak and lobster. Not sure that's the same thing. He paid for milk duds. He paid for steak and lobster. He goes, hey, try putting some of those duds in your popcorn. It's wild. Like that is Hank's wild streak right there. You put some chocolate in your popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Melted chocolate.
It's wild. All right. We're back in the car. Connie says, Bobby says, can't you stop talking about school? I wish Joseph was here. Now, there's a guy who enjoys watching a good stabbing. Connie says, well, I wish my violin was here. At least I have something to carry on an intelligent conversation with. I mean, they're having an actual fight here. Bobby says, I wish it was here so I could throw it out the window. She says, I'd like to see you try. It'd be Bobby Hill's last movement. He says, huh? She goes, you don't even get it. It's a music joke. Movement? He goes, oh, my mind went right to poop. She says, it's always poop with you. The two fathers come walking up. Con says, why aren't the windows all fogged up? And then on the inside, they're still having the argument. Bobby says, my God, what happened to Mrs. I.P. Daly? I checked into the Jolly Roger with. She says she doesn't want to have to pick a medical school based on what clown college you get into. Con and Hank are back. They get in, and then Connie runs off. And he looks back at him and goes, do something, you killing her. And so she runs off into the night. And that is our second commercial break. We'll take that and we'll be right back.
Snack Attack is a podcast about the history of your favorite snacks, candies, and treats. Each 5-minute or less episode features the history of a great snack from around the world. We'll also visit what the status of the snack is today and give you a little knowledge to lord over your friend. Snack Attack is available anywhere you get your podcast or at roguemedianetwork.com. Let's get snacking!
Step into the unexpected with Cultastic, or How to Start a Cult Without Really Trying. A podcast where cult creation unfolds in the most unpredictable way. Join us on a unique journey into the world of theoretical cult formation. Unlike any other podcast, each episode of Cultastic is co-written in part using ChatGPT, and we let it decide our fate, good or bad. What makes Cultastic truly intriguing? We don't know what's coming each week. Together with our AI co-author, we'll discover and build this cult, one episode at a time, exploring various aspects of cult dynamics, leadership, and group psychology. Delve into themes of charisma, influence, and the power of group thinking. It's a blend of expert analysis, theoretical exploration, and the unforeseen twists of AI-generated ideas. Remember, Cultastic is an exercise in imagination and education where we weave a narrative one episode and one tenant at a time. Curious about where this journey will take us? Subscribe to Cultastic or How to Start a Cult without really trying on your favorite podcast platform or at roguemedianetwork.com. Let's build this mission to save the people of Earth, week by unpredictable week.
All right.
And we're back.
We are back. We come back to a shot of the entire neighborhood. And over it, you hear Dale's stupid radio voice, cock-a-doodle-doo, it's the morning zoo. Con is waking up Connie. Morning, baby, you look sad. You must be upset about fight with Bobby, but that okay. I schedule a hot air balloon ride for the two of you. She says, I'm not sure I want to do anything with Bobby. He goes, what? No. Come on, we go deep fry some peanut butter and banana sandwiches. The fun we'll have. There's this huge pregnant pause after that. Con leaves. In comes Min, and she's talking to Connie because sometimes that's just what you need.
Better understanding. Yeah, somebody can understand what you're going through.
She goes, yeah, Con, you go fry your bananas. Knock yourself out. He can fry a banana sandwich pretty quick, so spill it. She goes, Mom, I was never suicidal, and Bobby and I never broke up. We were only pretending so we could spend more time together. She says, you lied to us? Yeah, but now that we spent all this time together, I don't know if he's right for me. She goes, oh, you know, honey, back in Laos, I was dating Fukong Varvaran. I don't know how you say that. He's the vice president of acquisitions for Ingersoll Rand, which is such a weird pull.
Yeah, it is.
Such a comer. The general loved him like a son. Then I meet your dad. They have a flashback to a science museum. Connie says, oh, yeah, at the National Science Museum. Min says, oh, that's just a story we tell. Truth is, we met at the discotheque. So then it stops and it goes over to like a 70s-looking disco flashback. She said, he pulled up on cherry moped, wearing tight, shiny shirt, and a pompadour. You know what a pompadour is, right? Like
the 50s haircut.
Yeah, the big hair.
Yeah.
And he's on a freaking scooter.
That's funny.
Connie goes, Daddy was a bad boy? She goes, boy, how the general hate him. Push Fukong on me like you wouldn't believe. General in this flashback is seen talking to a guy by the limo. Min says, but I had to choose for myself, the corporate boy or the bad boy. Con comes up on the scooter right in front of the big limo that her dad's standing next to. Waves, and she runs down and takes off right in front of her father on the back of his scooter. Connie says, okay, you picked Dad because Grandpa hated him. Should I stay with Bobby? She says, no. I picked your dad because even though we're very different, I knew he was right for me. I can't tell if Bobby right for you or not. Your dad can't tell you either. Only you can decide. And she kisses her forehead and leaves. And I just wrote down sweet Min because she can be super sweet.
I don't think that any of them are as conceited as shitty as Peggy.
No, not at all.
Even though sometimes they're made to seem like bad people and bad characters, I don't think any of them are truly as shitty as Peggy.
She's always great with her daughter. Like she's very, very good with her because you see that every once in a while.
And before the next scene, I thought that a real great like one-act play would be Dale doing this radio thing.
Oh my God!
Just him sitting at the deal, just doing this with
best.
nothing else,
just
him doing
the
the one-man show radio.
Yeah. Okay, so we see Dale is at the he's in his basement again. He says, well, folks, earlier I made some comments that were deemed insensitive by one of my key sponsors, Dale's Dead Bug,
which is him,
who pulled all his ads. Coward. I can't drum up any new sales since I'm stuck behind this microphone 24 hours a day. So I've been forced to sell the station to Mexican interests. He says, Viva la Revolucion. And then he pushes the mic over to Octavio, who's sitting right there next to him, goes, Octavio. He starts speaking Spanish, and then he pushes the microphone right in front of a boombox and turns it on 103.7, and it starts playing Spanish music. So I don't know what he got from this with Octavio. Couldn't have been much, right? I mean, can't be much.
No, probably not a lot. Bag of grapefruit.
And you're telling me that Octavio has to come over to run his radio station out of your house all the time now? It just doesn't seem. I don't know. Doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I don't get the logistics on that one.
We then go to Bobby's room. He's laying on his bed like he always seems whenever he's thinking or he's sad or whatever. And he's got a radio above his head, which is playing that Mexican music off of Dale's radio station. Hank comes in. He turns it down. He goes, you look like you're thinking, son. There's something you want to talk to your mother about? Not to me and your mother, just your mother. He goes, Dad, I'm thinking of calling quits with Connie. He goes, again? Bobby, ladies don't mind games and drama. They like predictability. He says, I don't want to hurt her, but I've never broken up with anyone before. How do I do it? Hank, this is kind of sweet from Hank because this is all he knows. He says, well, I've only been with your mom, and we never broke up, but I have fired people at Strickland Propane. You got to be honest. Tell them how they didn't meet your expectations and promise them a good recommendation when you break up with somebody. We're back at the Jolly Roger Motel. Connie pulls up on a bike. Bobby's bike is already there. She goes in, and Bobby's playing video games, so he took his whole console there?
I guess so.
Okay. She comes in. He goes, "Hey, Connie, you up for a game?" She says, "Sure." He goes, "I'll be Lu Manchu. You be Daisy Wah." It's a Mortal Kombat type game, and he just punches her until her head flies off.
Pretty much.
He goes, "You're terrible at this." She goes, "I know. I hate video games." He goes, "I know. Connie, I didn't call you over here just because checkout's at 11. Well, you've been a valuable part of the organization for 2 years now." But she goes, "Are you firing me?" He goes, "Nah, I think we should break up." She goes, "What? But I came here to break up with you." He goes, "Oh, you're just saying that." She goes, "No, I mean it. I composed a breakup letter and everything." Hands him the letter. Bobby starts reading it. "Bobby, there are some fundamental differences that suggest," "My God, you're such a nerd." She goes, "I know. And all you care about is having fun." He goes, "I know." She says, and you don't." He goes, "I know. I guess it's going to be kind of weird not being boyfriend and girlfriend anymore." She says, "Well, maybe a little." Bobby says, "But it's not like we hate each other." No. She says, "We're still friends, right?" She goes, "Right. Friends and still neighbors." He says, "Sure. Unless you're moving." Bobby says, "I'm not going anywhere." She says, "I'm not either." You hear a big pregnant pause, and then Bobby says, "Still got 20 minutes left on the room. Maybe we could hold hands one last time." They get on the beds, they hold hands, fade to black. It's kind of a sweet ending, honestly.
Yeah, it was a sweet ending.
Best breakup you could come up with. Then after the credits, you just hear, "Fat white lump."
And if anybody's seen King of the Hill past season 6 knows that breakup does not last. Doesn't really last.
Spoiler alert, doesn't last.
Spoiler alert, doesn't last.
Yeah, but that's okay.
You know what episode of this season I'm really looking forward to?
What's that?
The last.
Oh, yeah?
The last 2 episodes, because they're a 2-parter. It's the one where they go to Japan.
Oh.
And they sleep in the little foyer.
Little tubes?
They sleep in the
foyer, and they think it's the whole room.
And then Junichiro goes and he opens the door and goes, "This is your hotel room." And it's this massive, suite.
In this little tiny room.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Remember, on Mondays, you get these episodes video on Spotify and YouTube, audio everywhere else, anywhere you get your podcast.
Anywhere.
Also, if you can head over to Patreon, we would love for you to check that out. Maybe try out the $3 tier, which is all we've got. But it does help us keep on the lights here, and we really could appreciate your help or your support. Sorry, not your help,
for sure.
Your support. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. Thanks
we
for
appreciate it.
Coming back. I know we've had a little bit of a rocky road here lately. The wife had some pretty major surgery and then had some big complications that came with it, and so that screwed us up for a little bit. But she's on the road to recovery, and we're getting there.
And we jumped up.
You had a broken arm.
Still broken. It doesn't look broken,
Yeah.
Visually, but it's definitely still broken.
Mm-hmm.
And we also jumped up 100 places on the United States of America TV Reviews Apple Podcast chart. We were at 213, and now we're at 113. But we jumped up 100. So
not bad at all.
Thought that was cool.
I was telling you that last night I went to see a live podcast. It's called Old Gods of Appalachia. And those folks put on a hell of a show. Two musical artists. In addition to,
did you get any of their contact information?
I did. In addition to one of the stories that kind of complements what they've been doing, and then one brand new story.
Yeah, we got to get to Austin.
Really cool.
I think that's what we need to do. We need to find some stuff in Austin and start moving these podcasts down there.
I got a thing for us here. I'll tell you about it later.
Oh, okay.
There's a possibility.
Yeah. That'd be cool too.
All right. Anything else? You want to tell them where they can find us other than that?
Yeah, you can find us at bwaakoth.com. Send us an email at bwaakoth@gmail.com. And you could also go to our YouTube, youtube.com/@bwaakoth.com, or not .com, but YouTube or whatever. But if you go on there, go like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications for our videos and our live streams. And that's it.
And we'll see you again on Friday for That Ain't Right Friday.
Ooh, we Tanya.
We Tanya indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production. In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.